Sometimes in the United States Army, you're gonna do some pretty dumb stuff, especially when you word it in a certain way and you're trying to explain it to somebody who has never been in the military, someone's never been in the Army. You try to tell them, hey, I'm gonna be doing this tomorrow, and sometimes depending on how you explain it to them, they're gonna be like, wow, that sounds pretty dumb. So we got four good examples. So I've got these 4 examples that I feel like if I was trying to explain this to somebody that's never been in the military, they're gonna look at me probably pretty weird. This is gonna sound pretty dumb, pretty stupid kind of a thing. And I wanted to have 5, but I couldn't think of a good 5th one. So make sure to help me out down in the comment section down below. If there's something I don't mention in my 4 that I've got here, let me know down in the comments if you've got a 5th one that you can think of that would be pretty dumb if you were to explain it to somebody who's not in the military. So nonetheless, you're curious, right? Especially if you're someone who's not served in the military, not served in the Army. Maybe you're someone who has served and you're just kind of curious what I've got. Let's get into the first one, shall we? First one, if I'm explaining to somebody who's not in the military, never been in the military, I'm like, hey, today I watched someone pee. Yep, true story. That's the thing you could end up doing. So let me give you some context with that. The context with that is that in the Army, in the military, you got to do a lot of drug tests, right? It's technically, I think by regulation, I think the units, especially like on active duty, I think have to do it once or twice a year at least. But you're going to find a lot of active duty units that sometimes do it, once a month, twice a month. It really depends sometimes on the unit. A lot of times if they have like suspicion that somebody is maybe using drugs or something like that, then they might also do some drug testing. So it kind of falls in that kind of realm. When you have to do these drug tests, sometimes they're random, sometimes they do 50%, 10%, 100%. They'll call off the last number of your social security number, and anybody that has that last digit in your social security number, you got to go do a piss test, or maybe it's just everybody. But nonetheless, you'll go and you'll stand in line, and while you're standing in line, hopefully you got to pee. If you don't, then you start drinking a bunch of water, so that way you do have to pee. Typically you can't leave until you do have to pee. You're gonna be kind of like on lockdown in that area until you do have to go to the bathroom, and then you can't leave until then. So once you do finally get to the front of the line, they're gonna have like these cups and everything like that. They're gonna make sure your information is correct on this piece of paper. They're gonna, there'll be a label that'll go on the bottle and everything too, but you're basically gonna hold the bottle up and make sure it's in clean view, in a good view that you can't contaminate it. And somebody has to watch you pee in that bottle. Typically, it's going to be an NCO, so those of you that are E4 and below, probably safe for a little while, but probably once you do become an NCO, there's a possibility you're going to have to do that. So once you become a sergeant, a staff sergeant, officers will have to do this kind of a thing too. They do have male observers watch men pee into a cup, and then female observers watch the females pee into a cup, but nonetheless, their job is supposed to be to watch you physically pee into that cup, not just stand nearby. They're supposed to go and actually be able to watch it leaving your body into the cup to make sure you have not contaminated it in some way. You're not using fake pee somehow or whatever kind of a thing. They're supposed to actually watch it leave your body and go into that cup. So yeah, you get stuck doing that, and if you're out of context or whatever, just telling somebody, yeah, it's the other day, I had to watch about 50 dudes pee into cups. It's pretty gross. I've gotten stuck on that. It sucks. It's no fun. Another thing, probably sounds kind of dumb out of context. So tomorrow, I have to go sit at a desk for 24 hours with no sleep and just answer phones. Thing you most likely will do at some point in your Army career, especially on active duty type of thing, and it's known as CQ or staff duty. CQ is the barracks version. So you have the barracks. It doesn't matter if you're a single soldier, married soldier, they have like a roster, and people are gonna maybe go in alphabetical or some other kind of way that they'll kind of designate who's got what day and everything, and you're gonna have to sit there at the desk for 24 hours. Sometimes it starts at 7 to 7 in the morning next day, sometimes it's 9 to 9. It really depends on the unit as far as what the time is, but most, I would say 99%, 95% of units are gonna do 24-hour duty. I have heard of some units where they'll do 12 hours, which would be a lot better than doing 24 hours, but most units, they do 24 hours if you sitting at that desk. If you're on CQ in the barracks, you're kind of keeping watch over the barracks, making sure nothing goes down, nobody gets into fights, nobody's trying to break into the barracks, nobody's setting the barracks on fire, all sorts of stuff. There might be a phone there that you have to answer the phone sometimes if it rings, and you're kind of just on guard in the barracks for 24 hours. That's typically done with an NCO, so probably an E5, and then 2 lower enlisted people, or maybe 1 lower enlisted individual that's E4 and below, known as a runner. So you guys are able to like switch out to be able to like get something to eat, and technically you're not supposed to get any sleep, but there's some units that maybe don't really care too much if you're rotating and you still have, you know, coverage for that whole 24 hours, and maybe go get a little power nap in, maybe an hour nap here or there, but technically you're still on duty for 24 hours. The other one, staff duty, that's at the battalion, brigade level, whatever, kind of a higher level than the barracks. That's usually at the headquarters building. Same kind of deal. You're just kind of answering phones, watching over the building. You have to, at your kind of position for staff duty, might have to go check on the barracks to make sure the CQ individuals are doing okay. And then you might also have to go like check on the motor pools or other buildings nearby to make sure they're locked and nobody's trying to break into those areas. But that's also a 24-hour thing. Same deal. It's usually an NCO, maybe a higher ranking NCO, like a E5 promotable or a staff sergeant or something, and then you have 1 or 2 runners that you kind of rotate with to be able to get some food or whatever, and then you probably can get away with the other thing too, of maybe rotate and get some sleep, but technically you're still on duty for 24 hours. Some individuals are told they're not allowed to rotate out for sleep. It's kind of a weird thing, especially how strict the Army is sometimes with making sure you get enough rest before you go on vacation, make sure you get enough rest before you go on mission, but it seems to be a weird thing where they're okay with you being awake for 24 hours and then having to drive home after you got done being awake for 24 hours. Maybe you got an hour sleep in there, maybe you didn't get any sleep in there. Still, nonetheless, it's kind of a strange thing, especially when you're explaining to somebody out of context, telling them that you have to sit there and freaking work for 24 hours, and they're gonna be like, holy crap, that's insane. Nobody in the civilian side has to work for 24 hours that I can think of anyways. Now, I've got 2 more that sound pretty dumb, but hey, America, right? If you like this shirt, check out the link down in the description box down below. This shirt was sent to me by Grunt Style. They got some awesome, cool military themed shirts, even some shirts that aren't even have anything to do with the military. They just have some awesome slogans, some funny slogans on them. They got some pretty cool stuff. And if you utilize the promo code Chaos Army, you can save 25% off your first order. I have a link down in the description box down below to make it very easy for you to utilize that promo code. So check them out. Get some awesome shirts. Get a shirt for your friend, shirt for a loved one, whatever. Check out Grunt Style down the link in the description box down below. So this next one, third one here, let's say you're explaining to somebody, yeah, going on vacation, taking 2 weeks off, and I also have to use 2 weeks worth of vacation time. And they might be a little kind of like confused. They're like, well, wait a minute, isn't there some weekends in there? Isn't there a holiday in there? Let's say it's during the holiday time frame. Why do you have to use vacation days for days that you're already off? That's how it works in the Army. It's how it works in the military. If you are going to take vacation from the 1st to the 15th, but somewhere's in there's some weekends, some holidays, you still have to use 15 days worth of vacation, even though there are some days in there that you would have been off anyways and you wouldn't have been at work. It's just kind of how I guess it kind of is. You do earn like a lot of days, like right out the gate. Basically everybody earns the same amount of leave, whether you're a private or a lieutenant or captain or whatever kind of thing. You earn the same amount of days. Everybody gets the same kind of amount, which is 30 days for an entire year. It does accumulate over the months, but if you were to go a whole entire year without taking any leave, then you would accumulate 30 days. Typically in the Army, they have what is called block leave. Those are usually areas that are kind of blocked off for the unit that they've said, okay, hey, these weeks, this week or two, whatever it is, we're not gonna have any training going on. So if you guys wanna take vacation, take leave during that time frame, that is the best time to do so because it's gonna get approved because we don't have any field problems, we don't have any training that is very key going on during that time frame. So it's usually not a thing where you can just request any day you want type of thing. For certain circumstances, you can do that. Like if you're trying to go to a wedding or certain other kind of special events and we don't have anything major going on, in that unit, then it might get approved type of thing. But block leave is the most common time frame that people take vacation, which a lot of times is like Christmas time frame. And another very common one is like around 4th of July and certain other kind of time frames. Units kind of stagger the different ones, so not everybody in the Army always takes the same time off, of course, but there are different kind of time frames as far as, when they kind of stagger that. But if there is weekends in there, holidays in there, you still have to use leave days for those days you would have normally been off. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, you are getting more vacation days than you would on the civilian side. Most civilians only get 2 weeks for a whole year type of thing. You have to save up your vacation for an entire year, and you only get 2 weeks off, where in the Army, if you save up for an entire year, that's 30 days. You won't always have an opportunity to take a full 30 days. There are some opportunities that do allow you to do that, but it's not an always thing that you can actually take that much. But typically you're taking it like maybe like a week here, 2 weeks there, whatever kind of time frame. Maybe you're taking like 2 weeks in the summertime, 2 weeks during Christmas time. That ends up using up your whole 30 days you had kind of saved up type of thing. But nonetheless, doesn't matter if there's a holiday in there, weekends, still got to use your leave days. Now, the fourth and last one it would be a pretty stupid thing that sounds pretty dumb that you often have to do in the Army, and that's showing up 15 minutes early to being 15 minutes early to just wait around for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours before you actually finally do the thing that you're there to do. This is most common with like going out to the field sometimes, right? There's the saying we have in the Army, maybe in the military too, but I know it in the Army as hurry up and wait. I have done that many of times. I see it still go on in the Army today type of thing where, you know, you're told that, hey, we need to be in at work at 4 o'clock in the morning because we're getting ready to go to the field. So 04 is when we're doing accountability. So that usually means you have to be 10 to 15 minutes early, but then usually you got to be 15 minutes early to be in 15 minutes early because they're gonna check on you kind of a thing if you're not sometimes, right? And then you finally show up and then, you know, let's say in that case, 4 o'clock comes around, they get accountability, but then you're still sitting around doing nothing for another hour or two and finally you don't even leave to go to the field until maybe 9 o'clock. There's kind of a point to that. The main point to that is that's a huge gap of plenty of time that if you got some soldier that overslept, his alarm clock didn't go off, stuck in traffic, whatever kind of a thing, you can still make it there in time and we don't have to wait and hold everything up. We can still take off to the field at 9 o'clock or do my mission at 9 o'clock type of thing because you had a huge gap in between there of people sitting around making sure that there was that gap there. So if something did happen, there's plenty of time for somebody to get there on time before we actually need to start that mission. It sucks, it's dumb, but it's done for that kind of a reason type of thing. We gotta have this massive gap, right? You don't wanna take the chance of, hey, I want you to be here at, 8:30 and we're kicking off mission at 9, but so-and-so, forgot their ID card and has to go back to their house or overslept or whatever. Now 9 o'clock rolls around and that person still isn't there yet. Now that time to execute the mission gets pushed farther out. Whereas with the kind of way the Army kind of does it, 04, so-and-so forgot their ID card, overslept or whatever, they got plenty of time to try to get in so we can still kick off the mission at 9 o'clock and there should be no reason why they shouldn't have ample amount of time to be able to still get there. I mean, they're gonna get in trouble. It's not gonna be a thing like, cool, you still made it on time. No, their ass is getting in trouble, but we can still kick off the mission at 9 o'clock like planned. So there you go. I'm sure there are plenty of other kind of things that maybe you can think of, and if there is, hit me up down in the comment section down below. Tell me something that if you were trying to explain it to a civilian that has not been in the military, not served in the Army, that it would sound pretty ridiculous, and I'm sure there's plenty out there. Let me know down in the comment section down below. What do you got? Let me know what you think is pretty dumb if you were to explain it to somebody else. Now, there's also dumb things you have to do in the Army that I feel like are pretty dumb, and if you want to learn about those, I got a video right here if you want to check that out. So check out the video right there. Check out my links down in the description box down below for social media and everything else. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. I'm Christopher Chaos. See you next time. See ya.